Did you talk to him about it?
Yeah,
of course. All right, let's get it, guys. Victory Thursday. I thought it was Friday for the longest today.
It's not?
It's not Friday. It's
Oh,
Thursday.
boy.
I thought it was Friday. What is, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR show.
let's go. Let's go.
Presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use that code DNVR365. Choose your offer. Find out why. Whatever. The moment. Never ordinary at Bet365. We're also in the Xfinity studio. Throw them up, boys.
Those
There it
X's
is.
up.
Our dumbest bit. The Xfinity Studio, you can lock in your 5-year guarantee, price guarantee. Nuggets got a win last night, so we're in great moods.
Yeah, man. I'm hyped. The season's back. We're back. Championship, here we come. Who knows how long this win streak might last? We'll see.
I will say, I rewatched the game today. Lots of good stuff in the tape.
Yeah.
And actually
Love
some
that.
interesting stuff in the tape. Some stuff that'll give us a lot to talk about today, including we keep talking about who starts and who doesn't when everybody's healthy, but I think that misses the point. The real question is who doesn't get to play with Jokic at all?
Right.
How do you build a rotation? Because Denver has a lot of guys, and I think why a lot of guys have looked good this year, there's been so many injuries, which means a lot of second team guys have played with Jokic and looked good. So we're going to talk about a couple in particular: Bruce Brown, Spencer Jones, even Tim Hardaway. Julian Strawther, sneaky, the best option of all of them with Jokic statistically. So who gets those minutes? We'll debate that and give some hangover takes. Brennan Votes here.
Oh, man, I'm so hungover. I'm actually the least hungover person in the world. Our producer made fun of me today because I walked in with 2 fruit packets and a vegan protein bar. I'm not like, I'm not hanging out
Why
or
would you
having-
admit that?
I'm not having any fun at all. I've had no fun for months.
And
But
for years you've been doing that bit, but now you look phenomenal. So
thanks,
it's
man.
working.
No, yeah, at the cost of all of my joy.
Yeah.
That is what it takes, man.
That's all it takes.
That's what it takes. Over here, Harrison Wind.
Man, it's so funny how one win can just change everything about my life.
Yeah. So that's honestly my question. Is that how you feel? Because this one to me feels more like a settling. I don't
Well,
feel
yeah.
good. I feel settled.
I just am trying to think of how I would feel if they lost that
Well,
game.
we know how we feel. They've lost that game like 6 times in a row.
I know, but I mean, you just think about it. That was one win. You got one win,
Yeah.
to settle things down. Because I agree, it was a settling type of moment. Now, what can you do tomorrow?
Yeah. Which is a big one. I mean, we're going to talk about that
Absolutely.
as well, kind of preview it. But it was a settled down game. And I think the way they won it with defense is kind of the key.
That's
Now,
even better.
Boston didn't shoot the ball particularly well. There were some open looks that could have swung the game a little bit. They missed those, but that's what happens some nights. And then some nights you get the Warriors who didn't miss anything and everything looks terrible. But I'm curious. We're going to go to the hangover here, do some hangover takes. But I'm curious, Vote, you were at the arena. Did it feel while you're watching the game like the Nuggets were trying harder and executing better on defense, or that the ball just bounced their way?
100% the former. I mean, there's a little bit of the Celtics were running low when they got there. We know that. Second night of a back-to-back, end of a rough road trip. That context matters. But it's also part of what Denver did well. They didn't let them off the hook.
Yeah.
They were so physical. And the Celtics had to fight through so much resistance that even though the Nuggets couldn't hit a shot in the first half, the Celtics couldn't pull away. And by the time that fourth quarter came around, they were out of gas. And I think the Nuggets did that to them, right? They emptied what was left of Boston's tank by trying so hard on defense.
Yeah. As I went back and rewatched it, there are a handful of guys, and I'm going to get into who they are, that just execute on the defensive end, the little margins. And I honestly think that's what we think about guarding your guy and this or that. A lot of it has to do with how guys pre-stunt, pre-rotate, make extra effort. So when there's like, a stop, kick out, rotation, guys can do that. It's the rotation, the next one. Then there's another drive, and are guys, just kind of watching the play, or do they box out? To me, that's the difference. And I think there were a handful of guys last night that those details were executed perfectly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on defense, you can have 2 different approaches. You can kind of just let the game come to you and just react to stuff that happens.
Yeah.
Or you can actually be the aggressor on the defensive end. That's what the Nuggets were last night. It was really the first time in a long time. It might have been the first time this season where the Nuggets were the aggressor
Yeah.
And that happened on defense. Guys like Bruce Brown, Spencer Jones, I'm sure we'll talk about all of them, but everything that they did, the ball pressure, just reading things before they happened, anticipating what Boston was going to do and what their ball handlers were going to try to do. It made all the difference in the world. And it's really just, again, the first time I can remember the Nuggets having that mentality on defense in a long time. I can't even think of another game this season that comes close.
I think the Clippers game for the first half, right out of the All-Star break, which they end up losing, I think the first half they had that intensity. And then they get burned in the second half. And I almost wonder if it halted momentum. Like you had all right, All-Star break's over, here we go. And you try it for a little bit, run out of steam, and then it just kind of throws things out of whack.
Because it was so obvious, going back to that Clippers game real quick, that over the All-Star break, the point of emphasis was, all right, we got to cut this shit out. We have to defend.
Yeah.
And they came out in that first half like they had just talked about that for the last 3 days.
And they had, and that really is the story from practice on Tuesday and being at the arena last night. First of all, when what you just said to your point, Julian Strother said, quote, I feel like we were not a reactionary team tonight. When it came to every little action, we were assertive in some type of way, whether it was being physical with the screener or the guy coming off. So yes, they have talked about physicality since October. We have not seen a ton of it. That Warriors game was one of, if not the nadirs in the lack thereof physicality. As David Adelman said, like they were starting their offense wherever the hell they wanted to. They were getting to the elbows before anyone even touched them. So they talked about that in a film session. And I feel like this was one of the first times where you can see that the message really sunk in and they went out and executed.
Where are you getting that quote from? Where are you reading that from?
Oh, that's a great, I probably should have teased. This is from what I wrote, the story last night.
This is from your article for Diehards Only on the
Diehards Only. And there's a sale now at DNVR, $36 right now. You could become a diehard. You get access to all of our written content, premium content, a free shirt of your choosing, discounts at the bar, and much more.
Well, hold on. You're writing stories every now and then for like some of the games?
No, I'm writing all the time, man.
You're writing for every single game?
For every game. If I miss one, it's because I'm taking my time to work on something bigger. But yeah, we've covered all the beats of the season between the show.
What about like even practices and breaking news?
Yeah, we've got that covered as well. If you're trying to stay locked in on the Nuggets, watch this show, read my writing at thednvr.com. But right now, how the Nuggets delivered their best defense yet, as we just said, it's all about that physicality that they brought to the table.
You really think about it, man. We pride ourselves on covering the Nuggets like more in depth than anyone. And there's a lot of good people doing great work in the market, elsewhere, but we do a daily show every 5 days a week, sometimes more than that. We create additional content and we write on every single thing that's happening. And if you're not doing that part, if you're not reading it, who better? Like, think about all the people writing. Who has more depth of knowledge of this era than Brendan Vogt? He's writing not just like covering the big stories. He's analyzing it in a way that you're going to want to read. So check that out.
Absolutely.
Let's go. I have some notes here, and you can feel free to chime in if you have anything else from the arena. But the first thing is, I'm slightly concerned. We've talked about Cam Johnson and where he fits into the offense and stuff. I think that we don't really expect him to be a 20-point per game scorer. Like, even if we say starting now and going forward, I just don't think that's realistic. But so now it's less about can he carry all these different things. The one shot I think he needs to get better at is the KCP jumper. The handoff, curl around and just get to that mid-range and shoot the jumper. And Emma, I have his shot chart here from the season. This is Cam Johnson on the season, and it's kind of wild to look at. First of all, 1 of 6 from the foul line jumper. Isn't that insane that he's taken 6 shots from that zone? And if you extend it a little bit, 2 of 8, 3 of 5, that's just not a very high volume.
Wow.
You think of that shot being available to him twice a game, and it actually is available to him. I kind of wonder if he needs to, like, the way KCP knew that was his shot when he was with the starters, and that's like the only, you're looking for kickouts in the corner above the break, and then the one off the dribble thing is, can I get to the foul line and hit that jumper? I feel like this is where Cam Johnson can fit in. Be a little bit more keyed in on that specific action. And last night he had the one that got blocked, and he had 2 more, I think, that he missed. And I'm just looking at it and going, that's actually the pressure point that you can apply to the big offense when you're just trying to fit in around Murray and Jokic.
Yeah. Well, they run that play so much, but he's always, I feel like his first instinct is to try to get to the rim or to pass it out to somebody else and just quick kick it out. I've got to think that Cam Johnson is a like 3-pointer at the rim guy, throughout the last couple seasons mostly.
Well, but he took that shot though. He took that shot in Brooklyn.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he has it in him. I think it's a mentality. Here's what I actually think. KCP was not that good at getting the ball to Jokic on the roll.
Yeah.
And he just didn't try. Cam Johnson is just good enough that I think he's always thinking, like, can I draw two and get the ball to Jokic? And it makes him hesitate. When I think his mentality should be more, I'm KCP. When I'm getting that handoff, which is usually either a single handoff and roll, but usually it's a double handoff, zoom action where you get a lead screener and then Jokic hands it off as the second screener. When he gets that one, he should just be thinking, this is my play to get to the foul line and shoot it.
Yeah,
I agree.
Well, overall, he's just got to be more selfish.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big thing with Cam. And I mean, we're late in the season, so we'll see what happens. But he's just got to be more selfish and look for his own offense more. And that shot's open.
This is how he can be more selfish within the offense. This is where he can go and say, actually, it's my turn. I agree with everything you guys said. I think it's some of what Cam was talking about with just sort of not quite like the overthinking it concept. You know, you probably think, okay, at all times I should just get the ball to this guy. Sometimes that guy wants you to go take that shot.
Right.
So, you know, it is a little bit like Cam has done a lot well for this team. He really has when he's been healthy. But it's like even in that game last night, he only got 11 shots. They just don't find him. So I think he has to go and take some of those like you outlined.
But when you say selfish, I think that's almost too broad because then it's like at all times. And I think what the difficulty is understanding what's a selfish possession and what's not. And that one to me is like, I should be thinking, get to the foul line and shoot first. Other ones, I'm actually glad that he moves the ball and kind of is in control and different things. But that one is specifically designed for him to make them guard it differently. I think teams are kind of they're not as afraid of Cam Johnson coming off of that double screen, in part because they know how hesitant he is on it. The other note I have here, Jokic takes a lot of those threes, and I know we hate him, and I hate him when I'm watching him live. There are teams that are going to guard him the way that they guarded him last night, and that was that in the pick and roll, they would use their big to just drop down, and they would use their guard to not go over to Jokic. It wouldn't be a switch. It wouldn't be like a veer switch where you try to back up Jokic and then recover at the last second. They would just ignore Jokic and both go deep so that the paint is crowded. There's nowhere to roll, and it's vulnerable to Jokic popping. I just think that's going to be the playoff game plan for some teams. If you beat it, that's not going to be the game plan every night. But games like last night where he takes a bunch of threes, I kind of get it when I rewatch it, where I'm like, he just has to make them early, and then the game's broken open.
Recontextualizes that opening night effort against the Golden State Warriors where he launched a bunch of threes, didn't hit them. There were other things that were, at the time, shocking about that performance. It's clearly a adjustment that Jokic has decided. It needs to be a card in their hand in the postseason because teams are going to do some version of what all these teams have done to him in the paint to take away the pick and roll. And so I do think that if you can't handle that physicality, and if the corner shooters can't shoot you out of it, some of it might just have to be Jokic taking those shots. I don't mind him taking 13 threes. You hate when he misses 9 of them.
Don't you feel? I just feel like a playoff series is going to come down. Like he has the right mentality of taking them as much as it frustrates us. But I honestly think there's going to be early playoff games that come down to that, where teams are going to say Christian Brown's going to be open, Jokic's going to be open for 3, and we're going to live with it. The numbers say you shouldn't. He shoots over 40%, but we also know that he does have nights where he starts like 1 of 8.
Yeah. The problem is it could lose the Nuggets a game.
It might. And it kind of means that a game in the playoffs will come down to just that one variable.
And I don't like that, though. Like, that scares me because it can lose you a game, and that could mean you lose a series.
Totally.
And I don't like that. That would mean Jokic is just feeding into what the game plan calls for. I feel like in some of those moments, you have to break the game plan. You have to, this is what the game plan's calling for. They're letting me shoot this shot. I'm open. Sometimes you have to go against that in a playoff, like do or die moment. And if in a game 7, the defense is playing that, style and that's the game plan and he's open and he goes 0 of 7, they lose that game. That doesn't mean that was the right decision, I don't think.
See, I kind of disagree with it because when I watch how much they pack the paint and just take away any roll option, there isn't an option there. It's not like he just needs to power through 2 or 3 guys. I mean, that's what it would be. I don't know if that's a better option than letting a 40+% 3-point shooter get set and make and take the shot. Like he shoots what Dirk Nowitzki shoots from 3. Yep. If a team said we're going to give Dirk Nowitzki wide open threes, you wouldn't be like, he can't take it if he's missing. He has to go. You'd be like, nope, we'll take it every time.
But this is Jokic though. This isn't Dirk. Like Jokic can create other opportunities. They could run something else.
I'm telling you right now, I think the Jokic's going to have games in the playoffs with 10+ threes.
I agree.
And it's going to,
I agree.
And it's going to be, I think, what he has to do. And I mean, it honestly just comes down to Jokic needs to eliminate these games where he doesn't make them.
And I think he'd rather try to get comfortable with that outcome more so than just it being like, I'm resigned to this tonight in the moment because we can't do it. Like we've all seen those games, and but I think right now he's trying to have more of a, like, this is the premeditated approach. Maybe that's the wrong word because he never uses it, but you get what I'm saying.
But I think it is premeditated in that Boston does this to everybody. And so he probably did know going in that it's very likely they're going to do this, and it's very likely I'm going to have to take the three. Yeah. So I think there's something to it. Like Jokic's going to have to make some of these threes, and my prediction is he shoots a lot of threes over the last 20 games because I think a lot of teams are going to guard him this way. And to your point, I think he wants to get in the rhythm of, I just need to be comfortable taking a lot early. And if I make them, they're going to change up. I promise they'll change up their defense, but I have to make the early ones.
Right.
All right, let's take a break. There's one other thing on the other side that I want to get into, and that is that Spencer Jones looked phenomenal on rewatch last night.
So good.
Really good. His plus 22 was not an accident. We'll talk about that on the other side.
Right now, you can download Bet365 and use code DNVR365 when you sign up. You'll get access to tons of cool offers. Right now, they are offering an NHL early payout offer. I know I'm a basketball guy here at DNVR, but my calendar tells me the Avalanche are playing tonight, a pretty good hockey team. And right now, you can use this NHL early payout offer. You are a winner if the Avs go up by a 3-goal lead, whether they blow that lead or not. There's an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Download the app, use code DNVR365. When you sign up, new customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, again, use that code DNVR365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. If your bet wins or loses, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You have to be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. And at Common Spirit Health, they're more than just hospitals and clinics. They're a team of passionate and expert caregivers dedicated to your well-being, woven into the very fabric of your community. We love to hear that at DNVR. That's what we're all about here, community. And from preventative care to advanced surgical solutions, their skilled physicians and caring staff are here for you, offering personalized treatment tailored to your unique needs. You can expect a blend of cutting-edge technology with a commitment to human kindness at their 20 hospitals and 240 clinics and care sites, all right here in Colorado. Whether it's a routine checkup, managing a chronic condition, or responding to an emergency, you can trust Common Spirit to deliver exceptional care close to home. Experience the difference compassion makes. Find a Common Spirit location near you and discover a new standard of health and healing by visiting mountain.commonspirit.org. Common Spirit Health, the official healthcare partner of the Denver Broncos.
All right, back here, segment 2. Everybody throw us a like if you guys are enjoying the show. Let's get into some more nitty-gritty here. Spencer Jones really shined last night on rewatch. He played his 26 minutes, which you noted last night, Wind. Big jump from what he had been. And what stands out to me is that there's two guys that I think execute the little details of defense more often than everyone else. And that is Bruce Brown, who we've noted for his defensive impact lately, and Spencer Jones. And when we think about this, we often think about on ball, like Spencer and Bruce both get into guys, and if they pick up fouls because of it, especially Spence, but they get into guys. But what I'm talking about is, and this is the biggest thing for Denver's defense, you have to cover for Jokic. Jokic is going to be guarding pick and rolls up, and that means the backsides are going to have to be proactive, not reactive, but early into their rotations so they can sprint back. Mm-hmm. Nobody's better at this than Spence, man. He is always in the gaps. So if he's guarding a guy on one side of the floor and there's a pick and roll on the other, he's at the foul line all the way over so that with that guard tries to turn the corner, there's nowhere for them to go. And he's there before the play even happens so that if the swing happens to his man, he can still recover on it. And in some cases, what Denver does is Jokic will be up on the pick and roll, and rather than just help and recover, that guy will fully on come over to the next guy. The guy in the corner will go up to the wing, and Jokic has to recover all the way to the corner. And Spence never misses it. Yeah. And I think it's actually why Denver had such a good defensive rating last night, is you got everybody a little bit more locked into those details. But when I think about who do I trust the most right now to do those types of things, those pre-rotations, I think it's clearly Spencer Jones.
Yeah, more than a Bruce.
Probably more so than a Bruce, even, although Bruce does it really well as well. But Spencer Jones does it every time, every single time.
Yeah. detail-oriented nature is just something that's always stood out. And I mean, it's obviously something that has made him playable even when the Nuggets were fully healthy. You know, going back to the start of the season, he was still playing like a couple minutes here and there with a full roster, but it was because he could do those things on the defensive end of the court. And he can do it at like 6'7", 230. You know, he's a big dude. You know, Spencer Jones is a big guy. He's
That
almost
is probably what he is, 230.
He's almost like Aaron Gordon's size, you know, and you kind of think of him as a little smaller just because he plays more on the wing naturally than AG, but he brings, you know, some of those same attributes defensively. Just the range of guys he can guard, how he's not afraid to be physical and get up into guys and make people uncomfortable. He plays a great role, and he's just a great defensive weapon right now.
You also have to communicate, and that's something someone in the chat it seems like Spencer's doing more and more, and I agree with that. He's being very more vocal. He's also even, I think, been willing to kind of be upset with guys at times when they aren't executing. And so, like at one point, I think I saw him straight up yelling at Valanciunas about an error.
It's been the last 2 games. We talked about this last night.
I think there's room for that.
Yeah.
I think, you know, like if you want to come in here and kind of quarterback the defense, so like obviously he reads all of this well. He's detail oriented, but also kind of trying to help the group stay kind of committed to that. You know, there's room for Spencer becoming, I think, a bit of a defensive leader as well.
And you can do that when you're the guy doing all the details.
Yes.
I think that's really what it is he's probably looking around as like, who actually can say something? Like Murray and Jokic are the team's leaders, but they don't do this very well. And, you know, dot all their I's, cross all their T's on defense. So in a weird way, Spencer has like a leg to stand on.
100%.
But he does it at just such a high rate. I saw a comment. So Spencer Jones, to me, when you're playing next to Jokic, this is going to come in our next segment. When you're playing next to Jokic, it's kind of important for you to do these things, and he does them better than anyone else. So what does that say about what his minutes should be? Put a pin in that. I saw somebody in the chat saying we need to talk about why Zeke Naji played well and then Adelman benched him afterwards. We talked about it on the show last night. That's exactly what happened, but it's because of why Zeke played in the first place. And it was because they were trying to bring Jokic up into the pick and roll, but they had a non-shooter on the court. In this case, it was Ron Harper Jr. And at other times, they tried to play Keita and Vooch together, two bigs, so it allowed you to bring in another big. But the reason I bring this up, so Zeke played specifically because he was the perfect tool for that specific moment. Once Boston made the sub, they only kept Zeke in for another couple possessions and then pulled him out. There was no more need. Why he was playing well was because he was designed for exactly what Boston was doing. But it brings up this point to me. You can't play against Denver with a non-shooter on the court because you have to put pressure on Jokic defensively. And when Jokic can just guard Ron Harper Jr. and just say, well, then I don't have to run out on threes and I can just stay in the paint. It makes Denver's defense great. And it also gives Jokic possessions off on defense. He totally gets to take time off. And this is a big reason why Denver made their big run at the end of the third quarter. So I look at this and I say, Boston was shorthanded last night and they were, road weary and they went to some guys they don't always play. But any team in the playoffs that's going to play a player of that caliber lets Denver off the hook and Denver will beat them. Yeah.
I completely agree with that. It's also reached the point where, there were years past when we'd get really excited when you'd see a team that's going small because you just think about Jokic's stat line. Now I almost have this reaction of, is that going to challenge Denver too much defensively, right? So it's really interesting in that. And obviously, it's always better just to have Jokic on the court, period. But in terms of just matchups for Denver and how they vary, you almost don't want them to be too small and have a bunch of shooters because that's the hardest thing for them to deal with. There's also different types of shooting teams. Boston is this either ISO chuck or drive and kick kind of 3-point team. And
ISO chuck is hilarious.
Yeah, right.
They do though.
What type of offense do you play? The ISO chuck.
ISO and chuck.
Or we drive and just kind of kick it out. And Denver has an easier
good.
time with that than what some of the other teams do.
Clippers also play ISO chuck.
I completely agree, Harrison.
Yeah.
And even the threes that they do generate are the types of threes I think Denver is better suited to handle. There are certain teams like the Warriors who just will put them in a rotation into oblivion.
But last night, having a day to prepare for it, I think was why Adelman was ready to go to the Zeke Naji thing, because I think they looked probably a little bit more in detail about what Boston's going to do.
And they're like, if they go to this look, It's Zeke for a
It's
couple
Zeke
minutes.
for a couple minutes, and
Yeah.
and it'll work. And this gives me a little bit of hope for the playoffs because, like I said, a lot of teams try to steal a rotation in the regular season, but this will be true of the playoffs too. When they look at it and they're like, "Ooh, we just don't like this guy in this matchup, but we got to find 5-6 minutes for him." I do think Denver is particularly good, and this was true of the championship run. They're particularly good at exploiting those moments.
Right.
Oh, you brought in a compromised offensive lineup? Cool. We are now going to stop you every time and score
Right.
every time. And it gives me a little bit of hope.
Yeah. And I was just also thinking about this roster and how it matches up with David Adelman's mad scientist's philosophy game to game and how that could translate to a playoff series. And if you think about all the different types of players Denver has, I got to think everybody right now that's on the roster outside of Duran, I think can be used in a very specific way and maybe a different way game to game in a playoff series.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Zeke Najee has utility
Right.
in certain situations in the playoffs.
Right.
He's not going to play 20 minutes in a playoff game, but he might play 2.
Sure.
And it might be a really important 2 minutes. Spencer Jones, I think, is in the same way. He's going to play a lot more, but you know, there might be a playoff matchup where you need him for 30-something minutes a game.
I agree.
So I think the same thing with Bruce. So I think this roster actually is starting to lend itself to David Adelman in terms of just how many adjustments and how he might like to switch things up on the fly, because like you also might just need that in the playoffs.
The question will be how ready. And last night, part of what was so encouraging is Zeke had that limited role and did well at it. That's hard to do. Good 3 minutes. Come back out the game now.
Yeah.
It's hard to do, but he was up for it twice and it made a huge difference. So I think it is important. But then the other part of it is, how do other guys handle that? How will Bruce Brown or Tim Hardaway Jr. handle if they're in a series where they end up not playing or playing like 8 minutes? We don't know. But I do anticipate that Tim Hardaway, Bruce Brown, Spencer Jones, Julian Strawther, those Peyton Watson maybe even, might be guys that find themselves in a series playing significantly less than they see themselves. And then the next one that might be a lot more minutes. You don't know.
At the risk of sounding unnecessarily incendiary about this, I think it's kind of one of the small differences that you take in the give and take of Russell Westbrook is out and some of these guys are in. Westbrook, who produced like a maniac on that minimum contract and would be helping this shorthanded Nuggets team win these regular season games. I don't think he did so well with those moments. Right. It's like, actually,
we know
we're only good at, yeah, I'm framing that as gently as I can. And I think that was part of what didn't work when so much did. I say all that to say, like, I think Bruce Brown would be upset and annoyed. I don't think he would make it a problem for everyone else.
I think Bruce is a true, like, I think Bruce of all those guys would have the least hard time. Maybe Spencer as well. I don't know.
He won't like it, but he'll be about it.
I definitely think Peyton Watson is a guy, though, that if you find it in a series where you're like, yeah, we just need a little Tim Hardaway in this because it's the nature of it, I think that would be a tough one. Any other odds and ends from this game that stood out? I mean, what about this one question we kind of posed yesterday on the show, but I'll give it to vote. Is it possible one of the reasons the Nuggets defense was so incredible is that Jamal Murray was not part of the game?
Part of it. I mean, that's part of it. But there's also another version of that same game where you're sitting there going, man, they could have used Murray's shot making. You know what I mean? So, like, I do think playing so many other guys as many minutes as you did, especially with Murray, who's been sick and hurt and expended a lot of energy and just isn't his best defensive self right now. Yeah, I think playing Spencer and Bruce that much more and even going to KJ Simpson for 14 minutes, I do think that helped their defense.
Jamal Murray is doing the loud part of defense, I think, well. Like, he's guarding on ball and he, whatever, but he's not like boxing out or making the final rotations.
Not always. He has loud moments, but it's...
And I think that's the thing that stood out to me on rewatch, as I was just like, the Nuggets were so locked into that. Now, maybe he would have been too, because it was the whole team was doing this reset, but it did make me think that Bruce and Spence being out there instead of Jamal led itself to more good defensive sequences.
I think it definitely did. And KJ Simpson too. I mean, he can inject energy into a game because he's just focused on really that end of the court. So yeah, I definitely think it had something to do with it.
You're right, though, that the guys, you pointed this out, his dunk at the end of that run, it was an 11-0 run to end the quarter. KJ Simpson had the dunk. And the team, I mean, it was a cool moment because it capped off a great close. But the team was especially excited for that one, I thought.
Yeah.
It's like they love that guy.
Yeah, they do like him.
What do you see in the locker room? KJ Simpson, is he blended in already? You guys know his name yet?
A little bit. Yeah, I think so.
What do you think Yoke would call him?
Probably knows KJ, but
like KJ?
Yeah, I know. There is a moment like when he dunked that last night, and I was just thinking, Man, what a year. Like KJ Simpson's on the Nuggets now. Like what a year it's been, man. What a strange year it's been.
So hold on. He was at the parade.
Yeah, he was.
Is this a story that you knew before last night?
I did not know that.
So you found this out.
Shout out Jake Shapiro, who asked this question, who knew this.
Okay.
I think Jake's a buff guy.
Yeah, he's
right?
a buff.
I'm actually kind of kidding when I asked that. I know that about you, Jake. And so he knew that KJ went to the parade as a fan. I honestly think that's really, really cool. And I loved the point you made when I called in last night. Like KJ's out there. I mean, he just got waived. Like this is his career. He's trying to take it seriously. He's trying to make it in the NBA. He's also probably like, oh shit, I'm in the locker room with Jokic, man. You know? Like you have to be, right?
Well, he's a sophomore at Colorado in 2023. He had just finished his sophomore season.
Oh, so he went. Yeah, you're right. So he wasn't even in the NBA. Man, that feels so weird. So
He was a sophomore in college.
Yeah. So being at the parade, very natural, very ordinary.
Yeah.
And Yoke
just
loved
came
it.
down from Boulder for the day.
Yoke actually did. You can tell when Yoke's eyes light up. Like he did think that was cool, but then hilariously he had no thoughts from there.
But I get it. I said this last night when you were calling in. Do we think Yoke knows he went to Colorado and that's the reason he was at the parade?
I don't, probably not.
He just thinks he randomly like spawned in Denver that day.
I would bet of all the guys in that locker room, maybe the NBA, Jokic might be one of the worst on like, where did that guy play college
For
basketball?
sure.
Where did that guy play college basketball?
Maybe he does. Maybe I'm selling Yoke short here. Maybe he does.
Hey, maybe it's a question for you to ask him. Let's take a break. On the other side, our headline topic today: who gets the Jokic minutes? Who doesn't? There's some compelling cases for guys you might not suspect. We'll do that on the other side.
Toyota is the official vehicle of DNVR. If you're familiar with the program, you know that by now. We love Toyota. They're our good friends, and they've got trucks, lots of trucks. Trucks have always been a part of Toyota's DNA. For generations, they've built durable legends destined for greatness and perfect for Colorado. Like I always say, that sounds like a description of our guy Jokic. It's actually a description of Toyota's trucks. Whether you're conquering off-road trails or hauling the weight of the world, there's a Toyota truck that's just right for you, like the all-new 2025 Tacoma and the return of the iconic 2025 Land Cruiser. There are lots of different types of Coloradans these days. You might not be looking for a truck. Some of you actually might be looking to reduce your carbon footprint. Again, Toyota is your choice. They have 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, like the Tundra iForce Max hybrid truck. They offer more low and zero emission vehicles combined than any other automaker. Do yourself a favor, visit Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. There's AutoNation Toyota Arapahoe in Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of the Denver Nuggets and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places. And shout out to Shopify, which powers our merch store. And that's some of what they can do for you. If you had a dream since you were a kid, or maybe this is a sort of midlife realization, there's something you want to bring to life, a business idea, you want to put it out into the world, you want to sell, you need Shopify. It's the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Like I said, we use it to sell all of D-Line's tremendous merch here at DNVR. Go check out that store, by the way. There's a lot of good stuff up there right now. Shopify is you covered with website creation, product descriptions, email and social media marketing, and more. They also have AI tools designed to help you maximize sales. Again, if you are ready to sell, you are ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into... with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity. One more. Do it.
Boom. Perfect, man. Welcome back. Segment 3. Everybody throw us a like, hop in the chat and play along with us. In fact, give me your answers early, and then we'll see if you change your perspective as we begin to have this discussion.
Oh, yes.
Who should have the Jokic minutes? I don't know if you guys have looked at the on-off data lately. Everyone's better with Jokic.
I didn't have to look at the on-off data to know that, man.
And not only are they better, everyone that plays with Jokic has an incredible net rating. Emma, you have a couple of these here. Let's go to the top. This is in order of who's played the most minutes. So Murray and Jokic, plus 12.7. By the way, that plus 12.7, just pencil it in. Every year it's plus 12.7 when those two guys are on the court, no matter who's injured or whatever. Cam Johnson, next most minutes, which is that surprising to you that Cam's played the second most minutes with Jokic?
A little bit,
Well,
yes.
yeah, because every starter's been hurt.
So you're plus 11.5, which is obviously really good. And again, a lot of those minutes without the rest of the starters. Peyton Watson, next most minutes, plus 12.9. Really good. Tim Hardaway Jr., plus 11.4, obviously the same. Christian Brown plus 12.3.
Okay.
So everybody that's played the most minutes is basically plus 12.
Okay.
I would
Pretty good.
I would start by identifying, in my opinion, the two players who, to me, like they can kind of do their thing and be helpful in the non-Jokic minutes.
Yeah, that's where we're going to, I think, go on the next part of this. But let's go to the next 5.
Oh, gotcha.
So here we have the next guys. Bruce Brown, surprisingly the lowest of everybody to play real
Gotta
minutes.
pick it up, Bruce. Come
Plus
on.
5.5. I think there might be something to this one, though, as we'll talk about here in a second. Then you go to Spencer Jones, plus 13.2.
Jeez.
Really good next to Jokic. And look at that offensive rating. And then you get Aaron Gordon, plus 22.
Yeah, we knew that.
One reason for Nuggets fans to just kind of like take a breather is that Aaron Gordon has barely played, but when him, Jokic, and Murray play together, it's a plus 24 net rating.
Yeah.
Do you guys know that? It's only 229 minutes, which isn't nothing, but it's something.
The problem.
Plus 24 is better than ever. And if you remember the first month of the season, this is exactly what we were saying. The Nuggets look better than ever. Well, Aaron Gordon is such a huge piece, but he has played, as we see, the 8th most minutes with Jokic of anyone on the team. That's kind of crazy.
That is wild.
The next closest guy is Julian Strawther right after him. And look at that giant plus 20. That to me is actually very encouraging. 128.1 offensive rating. Does that surprise you guys at all?
Yeah. Yeah, because a bunch of those minutes have come in these last few games that the Nuggets have lost.
That's right.
But their offense has still looked good. It's been more of the defense. But still, the offense has looked really good.
Yeah.
And the defense actually not bad.
I'm surprised it's as high as it is, but I'm not surprised by the notion that Strawther and Jokic can work well together.
But you would have guessed it would have been like the others, plus 12.
Yeah.
Just like everybody
Yes.
else. And to be fair, 221 minutes, not the biggest sample size. Then you got Jalen Pickett down there at plus 2.6. RIP Jalen Pickett.
Probably could have left them off the graphic, to be honest.
Well, it just was naturally on the graphic. But again,
Naturally,
he's 11th or 12th guy.
Okay.
So I say that to say there's no bad options with Jokic. So how do you solve who gets the Jokic minutes? You're probably going to have 2 players besides Big Val who are just not playing with Jokic.
Right.
You're going to have to find 2. And like you, I look at this and first start by saying, well, can we identify who's best without Jokic? And I think we know the answer to at least one of these guys. I think it's materialized over the last, handful of games.
Where would you go first?
I think Cam Johnson has done a really good job with this
I
bench
agree.
stagger. And I think that his minutes might be the most replaceable, even though I love him with Jokic. And this is not a matter of take him all away.
Right.
But-
We're not taking him out of the starting lineup.
Or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it is very possible that he is the first guy out the game every time, and that you can build a rotation with the idea that Cam is just not going to play as many minutes as the other 4 starters next to Jokic.
That's where they're heading if it's not where they've already landed. Is the Cam stagger for sure. And it works. Like he has actually been a helpful piece in the non-Jokic minutes.
Yep.
The thing I think about, though, is, and this is just something I don't feel like I have a strong take on this just yet, I kind of wonder if Cam Johnson will look better without Tim Hardaway Jr. When Tim Hardaway Jr. is such a loud presence on the court, and I feel like that second unit, they're trying to almost build it around Cam and Big Val. And when Tim's out there, he's taking the most shots.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need that. Maybe you take Tim out and the offense sputters. But part of me is wondering as I watch this I just wonder what it looks like when Cam and Val are the main pieces and the other 3 are not Tim Hardaway level get it up.
Well, I think you're right, first off. But secondly, I feel like Tim Hardaway Jr. might be number 1 on the list of doesn't need Jokic. That's the problem, though.
It is an interesting problem. I will
He was
agree
the
with
other
you.
name.
I
Yeah.
actually think there is something
didn't show
to
up
it.
on the graphic. I don't think he did.
He was.
No, he was in the
was he
first.
on
He was in the first.
Yeah,
5,
he was good. It was like plus
Okay.
13.
But I'm with
Okay.
you,
I
Harrison. He's also a guy where it's like, yeah, no, Tim doesn't really change much. You just put him
Oh
out
yeah,
there.
with Jokic, without Jokic, close game, blowout, contested, uncontested,
Same guy.
mindset.
Not a huge sample size here because we don't really, it would take, I don't think there's enough minutes with Cam Johnson without Tim Hardaway Jr. or Jokic for us to be able to see. But it is one, as you get guys back, it's one thing I'm starting to wonder about is could your first sub be Tim Hardaway for Cam Johnson? That way, Tim is playing with Jokic. It gives you an extra shooter, but also Cam Johnson gets some minutes with a little bit more of a balanced, defensive roster where he can be a little spread his wings. I don't know. Maybe the answer is no. But I do think we all agree Cam Johnson is probably the best stagger Denver's found.
I think so.
I agree. Also, I thought they had a little burst of chemistry together last night. Tim and Cam. Just a tiny little bit of a connection, which I only noticed because they're 2 players I don't really think of together ever.
But then you start to wonder, how do you build a rotation around this? So if your bench without Jokic is going to be Big Val and Cam Johnson, what are the other three players around him? Naturally, you're thinking it's going to be Bruce Brown, Spencer Jones, Tim Hardaway. But which of those guys feel the most like fit for that lineup? And let's take Tim out of this equation for now. If you take Tim out, do you need Julian on the court at these minutes? Because it gives you another shooter.
Maybe.
And then also you probably need some defense out there. Could you run a lineup that's like Bruce and Cam and Julian and Spencer and Big Val? And that would allow for you to have Peyton Watson and Tim Hardaway Jr. as your staggers coming in.
To me, I think Bruce is a good fit on the bench unit.
I think so
in
too.
the non-Jokic minutes.
So you won't. Okay, go on.
Just because his offense, I feel like, is kind of just going to be found money. You know, whenever Bruce has a big offensive game, I don't think he really needs Jokic to set him up necessarily on a lot of his offense. He gets it, you know, he's kind of like the garbage man, you know, picking up offensive rebounds, loose balls, you know, that might turn into a layup or something like that.
Fast breaks.
Occasionally getting out on the break, getting a steal, and then that leading to a breakout. I just think, and also like his defense, that would just be a great game changer, energy changer to add to that second unit when the benches are in the game.
I completely agree. And then every now and then, like last night, or you know, as we've seen in the last few weeks, you might think it's a good time to leave Bruce out there because he's setting the tone physically. Like he's just a high impact player. But I don't think that has to be plan A every night.
So here's the thing about Bruce that I've been kind of circling. I don't know if it's about not pairing him or pairing him with Jokic. I don't think he's a good fit next to Jamal, weirdly. I think the Jamal Bruce thing, and it's almost like you have to split them up. And if Murray's going to play more with Jokic, that means Bruce is going to play less with Jokic. And so you might look at it more that way: is this Bruce replaces Jamal, not anything else. And then the second thing I think about there is, do Bruce and Spencer kind of fill the same niche in that they're going to execute all the details, they're going to play hard, and if you put them both out there, do they both their weaknesses accentuate more than their strengths accentuate? This is where the puzzle gets a little difficult. I like the idea of, okay, we're starting with Bruce, Cam, Big Val. I like that. But not Spence, because now we're becoming a little redundant. And who else is the other guy out there? This is where it gets a little tricky. But do you agree with my assessment? Bruce for Murray, but not Bruce and Spencer?
I mean, I think this is where what Wind was talking about comes into play. I feel like there are going to be some nights where you like the idea of Bruce and Spencer together, right? I mean, when you're in a rock fight, which they were in last night, like it's kind of awesome to think about having not one, but two guys that can agitate at the same time. Having said that, I do think you want to avoid putting yourself in a situation where there's too many guys that teams don't guard. So I guess,
especially if we're talking about non-Jokic minutes, which presumably were also non-Jamal minutes, build the best offensive lineup that features Bruce and Spencer that doesn't have Jokic or Murray.
You have Cam and Tim in there too.
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
And now you need a big body.
Val. So it's Val, Spencer.
It's like,
Cam,
is that lineup?
Bruce.
It could be okay. It honestly could be okay.
I don't mind it.
I'm just not sure.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I'm just not sure that's the right one. And then there's the question of Peyton Watson, being fully healthy. I think Peyton Watson actually, I hate that we don't really know how dependent P-Watt is on Jokic or not, because he really had his breakout when Jokic was out.
I don't think he's dependent on Jokic.
He was very good with Jokic, though. Like
right.
that was important. He was very, very good. But he also was very good without him.
Correct.
And if you start to talk about, okay, Bruce, Cam, Big Val, does Peyton Watson elevate both your offense and your defense in a way where you're like, yeah, that actually makes sense now. You check both sides of that, and it's not Jokic dependent.
Yeah.
And now Spencer can be in there with those guys in a way that actually is fine.
At least in theory,
I think
yes.
so.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting thing. I think Denver has, it is so funny that with more options comes more difficulty. You think back to last year, there just wasn't that many things Denver could do. So it was almost
They had
hard.
like two lineups.
Yeah, and you just were like, that one or this one. But now they have like 50 they could possibly go to, rotations, and figuring them out is tough. So let me give you, did you have something, Dan? Let me give you the lineups that how I think this rotation is going to shake down.
Okay.
You obviously have your starters, and let's just keep CB in there. I think CB is going to be the starter. Just the way the season is, there's just not enough time, man.
How the season has gone does make it tougher to put P-Watt back in there.
P-Watt could be a guy that closes some games. In fact, I would expect that to happen. P-Watt could be a guy that starts some playoff games. But I think if you ask me how the Nuggets play these last 20 when everybody gets healthy, I'll bet you it's just with CB at the starting spot.
Okay.
But then your stagger, here's one option. Murray, Christian Brown, Peyton, Watson only for Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, and Jokic. I think this lineup is awesome. Ironically, last year, the CB, P-Watt, AG trio didn't get much run, but it was horrible. I think P-Watt's improvement as an offensive player makes that lineup much more viable. CB, P-Watt, AG, I think we all know that's like a great early stagger.
I mean, defensively, yeah, you're solid.
Offensively, do you not trust P-Watt to knock down the corner shots?
I do. Offensively, you are fine as well. Yeah.
And I think athletic, more to the point, CB, P-Watt, AG might be your most athletic.
Sorry, this is just P-Watt in for Cam, right?
Just in for Cam.
Yeah, I think that absolutely should work now, especially with the player you think Peyton Watson has become.
Then your second substitution becomes Tim Hardaway for Christian, Spencer for AG. I don't love this one. You're trying to spell AG's minutes, I think, a little bit because you probably want him only playing like 24 minutes a game for the first 10 or so he comes back. But Murray, Tim Hardaway, Peyton Watson, Spencer Jones, Jokic, you get a lot of athleticism and defense from P-Watt and Spencer. You get shooting from P-Watt, Spencer, and Tim. You get athleticism from Tim Hardaway impressed me yesterday, by the way, defensively. He was getting into guys.
It was his best game of the year.
It was kind of weird to watch him play at that level. Maybe he'll pull a Justin Holiday and actually just be good in the playoffs.
Fall back in love with basketball.
You know what it was, though?
Not after that showing in the post-game press conference.
He probably loved that.
He did actually, yeah. I think back to what Tim said on Media Day, where I said, like, what's the biggest thing he's learned being a veteran is you come in, you figure out what the coaches want, and you do enough of that to get playing time.
Yeah.
And Tim heard 48 hours of you need to get into guys, and Tim was like, all right, I'll do it tonight. I'll do it tonight.
You're right. It's a great note, honestly. Murray, Tim, P-Watt, Spencer, Jokic, I think is a good lineup against staggers. I actually think it's a very good lineup.
I'm sorry, just to change the subject really quick. I'm looking at this picture of the Nuggets leaving for Oklahoma City. It's like Louis Vuitton bag, North Face.
It's North Face.
Spencer Jones.
I like it. A very functional bag.
Back to what you were saying.
The disparity of wealth in an NBA locker room is something.
It's actually the unspoken
It really
weirdness,
is, yeah.
You really do have like 100 millionaires with some guys that are making,
KJ
tech
Simpson
wages.
somehow got it. I don't know if it's real or not. I don't know. But
Dude, by the way,
fake Louis Vuitton.
it's on two-way.
might be. He's on my list of guys who I saw, and there's a certain. If you're close enough to my height, like I don't care what your stats are. If you play a single game in the NBA, I think you're a god.
He's that short?
He's shorter. He's shorter than you might think. He's definitely shorter than he's listed. That was my biggest
He's
takeaway.
6'2" listed.
I don't think he's 6'2".
He's 6 foot. Is he
I don't think
Pickett
he's
size?
6'2".
Taller? Shorter?
Got to see him side by side.
Oh my God, that's pretty small. Murray, Tim, P-Watt, Spencer, Jokic to me just feels like a lineup you can get a lot of minutes for. Here's the problem. We know Jokic likes to play the entire first quarter. Murray's been playing a lot well into it. That means you only have a couple of minutes with Bruce because Murray will come out late and you probably have Bruce, Tim, P-Watt, Spencer, Jokic. And as much as I also like that lineup, and last night that lineup minus P-Watt was making a big, that's what made them the big push.
Yeah.
You might really reduce that from like 4 or 5 minute stints to 2 minute stints. That's the only part that kind of scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
Poor Bruce, just cut out of the Jokic rotation.
I know, but the bench needs him. The bench needs his energy. The non-Jokic minutes need his energy. And I mean, in the playoffs, those non-Jokic minutes are so few. Like they go down from whatever, 16 a game to like 10 a game, maybe. And so you just really need to muck up the game in those minutes.
Yeah.
You just need to like make the game chaotic when the benches are in there, when you're in that postseason environment. That's what Bruce can do.
Right. Play as hard as you can for 10 minutes. Yeah.
The only other combo I've thought of here is if you go, instead of that last one you go Murray, Tim, Spencer, AG. So instead of P-Watt, Murray, Tim, Spencer, Aaron Gordon, and Jokic. I think that lineup could also be good. I don't know about the Spencer AG redundancy, if there's a little redundancy in skill sets there.
There is.
Yeah, but they both are good enough shooting forwards against all odds. I think you can make it work.
Yeah.
I just want Jokic playing with one of like Spencer.
Look, man.
I think Spencer helps them. P-Watt,
The reality is going from last year to this year, everything is going to work this year. The Nuggets just have enough guys to where everything is going to work. Last year, you had to thread such a needle with the personnel they had to just make lineups that even had a chance.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
This year, everything's just going to work.
But they do have to, but it's a good problem to have, but it's a problem that Adelman and the staff have to sort through all the same. Who are they? What are their best versions of themselves? What are their best looks?
Yeah.
And look, when they're all healthy, like Julian Strother, who's had a great month. I mean, he's out, right?
I mean, I can't.
You
I would be slotting him in over
how do you fit him in?
somebody that I just doesn't seem
I
to
think
make sense.
even a guy like Spencer, who's been essential all year, you're already like, oh man, you got to find ways to get him in there, you know? So they still have to figure it out.
I think it is honestly like not a concern because to your point, I think the reason you should be high on Denver is that Yoke will play however many minutes in the playoffs, and every one of those moments should be a good lineup. I just don't think I'm going to see a game when everyone's healthy where I'm like, dang it, man, this lineup's rough if Yoke's on the floor.
I agree.
I honestly don't.
Right.
Every lineup will make sense.
Here's the question, though. What's your death lineup?
This was the next and final
Okay.
question.
It's a good question, Harrison.
I'll let you go first. What's the best lineup the Nuggets can throw out there? When you say death lineup, you're really meaning the best one.
Yeah.
Not like sort of we get them off balance late third quarter. But
Yeah.
this is our best lineup.
So it obviously involves, I think, three guys.
I think so.
obviously.
I think it's very obvious the three guys
Can I
that it
guess?
is.
The big three.
Pickett,
Yeah.
KJ.
Duran.
Jokic, Murray, AG as just a lock.
Right.
So you're really just going to two spots here for your best lineup.
Yeah. And those two spots are probably between three guys.
I think Cam Johnson is very likely to be part of this because of how he executes on the offensive and defensive end, just low mistakes. I think he's probably the leading candidate of the remaining guys.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Agreed.
Do you agree?
Oh yeah.
Even though the numbers haven't jumped off the screen, we still just feel like he does his job.
Yes. Yeah.
He's the Christian Brown of Michael Porter.
Yeah, he completes a lineup. He can help complete a lineup for sure. 'Cause it's an
So
unbelievable lineup.
then it gets tough because I actually think you could make a case for four guys for this last spot.
If you have Cam in there, yeah, it kind of opens it up a little more. I would say right now,
This is not an easy question, man.
I mean,
I
it's
have an
not
easy
because
answer.
the guy hasn't played in almost a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
You think it's an easy answer?
I just think if Peyton Watson.
He's going to be a shooting guard
For
in
Christian,
this
yeah.
configuration.
He
Yeah.
doesn't really play shooting guard.
Is that a
He
problem?
hasn't really played shooting guard at all this season.
Yeah, but
he's a guard hybrid.
Yeah,
he
he's-
handles the ball sometimes, and he can shoot corner threes. He can shoot above the break right now. Here's my argument. Your best bet at maintaining lineup versatility, if you want a guy who can help you make shots, the spacing should be okay, but your defense doesn't take a hit by him being on the floor, Peyton's your best chance.
I think it's Peyton Watson as well. At this point, I might even go Spencer Jones over Christian Brown.
Wow.
I actually think so too.
Spencer, I want Spencer playing with Jokic. I know it's crazy.
I
and
love
it sucks.
Spencer Jones.
I love him
I
with
freaking
Jokic.
love that guy.
I think with Jokic, he just is like your ultimate, just does the dirty work. He does everything right.
Because
on
here's the
defensive
thing about a death lineup. You cannot have a weak link on either end of the court.
Right.
And
end. Christian is fumbling this, man. This is
Christian
supposed to be
Brown's
what he
lack
was.
of shooting is a weak link in a death lineup. It just is.
Did you feel good about the open threes he had last night? He made 2 of 5, I think, which is good. But did
I
you
actually
feel
felt
good?
better about them than I have in a long time. I really did.
See, I did not. I actually was kind of like every time I was like,
I want it to be Christian. I mean, I'm a Christian guy.
You are.
You
are
I'm
famously
not.
I thought you
Christian.
were- I thought you were
Famously
Jewish.
I'm not
Christian.
actually. But
hold on a second.
Only Jewish guy on the show.
Did your parents know?
Yeah.
it's gonna be tough news to break to them. I'm a Christian guy, but I can't put him in the death lineup right now. I just can't.
I agree.
I think
That sucks.
I think I'm with you guys here that I think Peyton Watson is by. We haven't seen this lineup, by the way, and this is part of it. Is we're believing in a lineup we actually haven't gotten a chance to see,
yeah.
and maybe it doesn't work. But the athleticism and length that trio provides you, Peyton Watson, Cam Johnson, and Aaron Gordon is exciting. The athleticism, the defense, and you just think about who are guys going to target on defense. Probably Cam, but
Well,
it's like Cam. I feel good
Griffin in
about.
the comments brings up a good point. Isn't Murray's defense a weak link? It is.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's Jamal Murray.
Right.
Of course, he's out there.
Same with Jokic. Yeah, those guys, you're
Yeah.
better with those two guys
Yeah.
out there. But yes.
There's no
If
way
you're
Murray's not part of the
if
death lineup.
you're a role player,
Yeah.
you really can't have a weak link.
I think it is Peyton Watson as well. And if you go past that, I hate that we're here with Christian. He's kind of fumbled this. And what's weird is he got his money on being this offensive player, but his offense really is limited to those split cuts when he gets the slip and getting out on the break, which is very valuable. And he does other things.
Did shoot 40% from 3 last year
On a very low volume, but yeah, he could knock down the basic threes or whatever. But
he's not doing that this year.
And I don't think he was doing it when it mattered last year at volume. It was the Jokic three-point problem, what we're seeing right now of, yes, he shoots 40%, but do you want him taking 13 if he has to? It's the same with Christian. Yes, he shot 40%, but do you want the offense coming down to him? And unfortunately, if he was doing the things that Spencer was doing defensively, I would say, well, just live with it.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
he's not.
But he's not.
And I'm not sure he's even the better defensive option than Peyton Watson right now. And I do trust Peyton Watson to bring something offensively.
If Josh Hart was having a terrible defensive season, like you wouldn't start Josh Hart,
Right.
You know?
For his like offensive things, you'd be like, hold on, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, just in this context of like, I think you can start Christian Brown for the rest of the regular season, absolutely. But we're talking about how the Thunder guarded Denver in the playoffs last year.
So I think there's something to it. And then you can make a case even for Bruce. Like, if we just think about how lineups closed this year, I do think that, I mean, there's a chance Cam doesn't close some games. I don't think, I think the Nuggets would be comfortable with that, but I still think he'll be a part of a lot of them. Bruce could close, Peyton could close, Christian can close, maybe Spencer.
Right.
Maybe even Tim Hardaway, to be honest with you, if the situation calls for that. And I could even see Julian Strother. Now, that one's a little bit more of a stretch, Julian closing, but who knows? It just depends on what you need. There's a lot of competition for that shooting guard and small forward spot, but especially shooting guard spot that I think is kind of fascinating. The one thing I'll say is Christian Brown, I don't think is a guy that you can play without Jokic heavy minutes. And that's why I think in the regular season, he'll get a lot of reps with Jokic.
Yeah, that is a certainty for sure.
He could make that work. And more importantly, Jokic can make it work in the regular season.
It's kind of an interesting thing. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. If you guys expect this to be an issue or not even an issue, like just who's going to get it. It's part of the reason I want everybody back and healthy is I want to start seeing these things play out naturally in the regular season before we get to the playoffs. Before we get out of here, one piece of fun news for you that I found to be funny. The Atlanta Hawks have a big game coming up here on Friday. Have you guys seen this?
Big
or
game
on
on the
Monday?
schedule? Or?
Big game. It's Magic City Monday.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Magic City.
That's the local amusement park,
That
right?
is, well, of sorts.
The philanthropic organization.
The Hawks on their website list this as an iconic cultural institution, Magic City. They're having T.I. do a halftime show. Is this not hilarious?
First of all, it is inarguably a cultural institution. Like, I know about it. I've
True.
known about
Whoever
it for years.
does marketing for Atlanta needs a raise.
Yeah. No, this is hilarious.
Genius idea.
This is honestly just, it's so not even, the best part is it's dressed up in corporate dressing. It's the least corporate decision a team has made.
Do you know
in
how
a
fast
decade.
those hoodies are going to sell out? They're probably already sold out.
It's probably true.
The resale value, the eBay on that's going to go crazy.
If you don't know,
Atlanta Hawks Magic City hoodie.
If you don't know, Magic City is a strip club in Atlanta,
Yeah.
a very famous strip club, and they're having Magic City night. And so D-Line
You got to invite Lou Williams back to present the game ball.
D-Line decided to mock up. The Nuggets are thinking about doing this on their own. They're having Shotgun Willie's night.
Yep.
Shotgun Willie's night at Ball Arena.
Yeah, John Moran's flying in.
Yeah, it's for the Grizzlies game. It's actually on Thursday.
when you drive past Shotgun Willie's and it hits you, that's where John Morant was.
I know. It's opening Glendale.
Chick-fil-A before?
It's in Glendale.
by the
Pick
Target.
up order at Target?
Yeah, just gets me every time.
Unbelievable. All right, what do we have here for Super Chats?
Ghostly Gengar. I just want Harrison to know that we, the chat, have not forgotten about Zingate. We are still waiting on the files to be released. # never forget.
The files have been released. It's out there. It's the files are on the internet for everybody to comb through and sift through and
I don't know. There's a lot that's been redacted in those files. I want to see them. I want to see the full files.
You want to see the full show?
Yeah, I want to see the unedited audio before I rule a judge.
60 seconds left. Get me out of here.
I've
Oh,
released.
you want to talk about this, right?
I have released all the files that I deem to be acceptable
And
for the public.
Oh, you said there's no more investigation beyond that. It's a closed case.
I'm actually investigating myself about it now just to see if there's anything else I need to put out.
We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Nuggets are back tomorrow, and we're actually excited about it.
Actually.
We're back to being excited.
For now, anyway.
Hit the like button on the way out.
We all silly like the mayor.